Time is now to speak up and join with patriots across America and back Trump, our POTUS. Defend election integrity of the most important election in U.S. history. Stop the fraud. Why do you think he's putting that out there? He's putting it out there to see where their allegiance lies. Is it with the deep state? Or is it with rule of law? With America, with the people? And you're going to find out a lot of these individuals, they're not for the people. They're going to try to push Biden as hard as they possibly can and probably move to his side. And I wouldn't expect a lot of the GOP, the establishment, to back Trump as he fights election fraud. He's going to know very, very quickly who's with him, who's against him, which allows him to identify the swamp. Now, Sidney Powell, she was giving an interview on Fox, and she said something very interesting about the elections and how they're using these algorithms to calculate the votes to allow Joe Biden to receive the votes he needs. Take a listen.
I wish I knew, Lou. I don't. It's extremely troubling. The president crushed all the metrics to win this election. And then all of a sudden, votes start appearing from nowhere. They're running a mathematical algorithm that enables them to calculate the number of votes they need to create for Biden to win in circumstances where he shouldn't win at all. And they've done it. They've planned this ahead of time. They've executed it masterfully. Stopping the voting the night of the election should never have happened. It's never happened before. The whole situation was carefully calculated and created to steal the election from President Trump and the people of America, who poured out by the hundreds of thousands in rallies to support him and should continue rallying until he is elected.
Now that is very interesting, because when we watch the elections, we can see how all of a sudden Trump was in the lead, and then overnight these ballots brought Biden right up to where he needed to be, out of nowhere. And Trump tweeted out, "Where are the missing military ballots in Georgia? What happened to them?" Well, the Georgian election officials say there are still 8,410 military and overseas ballots that could be counted if they arrive on time on Friday. More than zero and less than 8,410. It'll be somewhere in that range. We don't really know how many that is. And remember, Biden leads right now, and I don't know if this is the legal votes, but probably they're not. He leads by 1,589. And most likely they're not the legal votes. But he's leading there, and Trump is saying, where's the military ballots? Because now we need to introduce those. If you notice, why are they taking so long to come in? And are they all going to be before Biden? That would be interesting. Let's talk about our health. I've been experiencing increased physical and mental energy, better appetite control, boosted metabolism, enhanced mental focus, and a more youthful looking skin. How? It's all with one little secret. The secret is keto with X22.com. Thanks to keto with X22.com, I experience all the benefits of keto diet and elevated ketone levels without actually having to be on the keto diet. I feel 10 times better. All I do is take one scoop a day. The keto diet is the most effective diet for those who want to look lean, in shape, and lose weight. It's one of the most popular diet trends right now among top athletes and celebrities. Get yourself a bag of keto with X22.com today while it's still 51% off. As an added bonus, if you order today, you'll get free shipping, free VIP live health and fitness coaching for life, a free e-report on the top 14 ketogenic foods, and a 60-day money-back guarantee. So go to keto with X22.com. That is keto with X22.com. Now let's talk about investing. Now, what's going on with these markets? Right now, they're all over the place, and no one knows what's happening. Will they grow or come crashing down? One thing for sure, gold has kept people safe for thousands of years through wars, disaster, and financial troubles. That's why Noble Gold is inviting you to get safe with gold this time. They're gifting a solid 24-karat American Gold Eagle coin in a spectacular display case with every qualifying IRA 401k started before the end of November. Gold has been looking after people for thousands of years, and this time it's no different. It's the only proven way of keeping hold of the value of your retirement fund, whatever happens out there. No call centers, no sales pitch, straight through to the experts who'll give you your option. Noble Gold when it really matters. So go to noblegoldinvestments.com and get this special coin offer, but don't hang around. Or call 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. Let's talk about being prepared. With the elections only weeks away, we all know we need to be prepared for the worst. Civil unrest is getting so ugly in spots it could bring the entire system to its knees. We know what the deep state's going to do. We know that they're going to be pushing the second wave of COVID-19. Grocery stores and food manufacturers are already preparing themselves for nationwide panic. Will you be ready? Don't wait until it's too late. Remember the toilet paper shortage? I urge you to visit preparewithx22.com and build your emergency food supply today. And you need to be prepared for any scenario. And right now, you can save $100 off a full 4-week supply of the delicious, nutritious meals that give you a life-saving 2,000 calories a day. And we all know we like to procrastinate. But what happens when you procrastinate? You're not prepared. And this is why you need to be prepared, because we don't know what's going to happen. So go to preparewithx22.com. That is preparewithx22.com. So Trump, he's letting everyone know that the deep state, they're not just going after the presidency. They want the Senate too, because right now, they still have the House. Yes, the Republicans are filling the seats. The Senate now belongs to the Republicans, but it seems the deep state wants it all, because what do they have to do once they get into office, which they're not going to get into the office, but this is their plan. They need to reverse everything that Trump did. And how do you reverse everything? You're going to need the House and the Senate. And this way they can reverse everything as fast as they possibly can to move forward with this 16-year plan, because they're going to be back on track. This is what they're planning for. This is what Trump is trying to stop. And I do believe he knew this was all coming. He knew exactly what they were about to do. He knew that the ballots were going to create fraud, that there were going to be problems. And yes, he counted on the landslide. Think about why he was counting on this. He knew that from his internal polls, so did the deep state from their internal polls. He knew that the landslide was going to help him in the end. And you're probably wondering, well, how? I don't see a landslide. There's no landslide. This is a lie. There's no landslide. Well, think about why he needed a landslide. He's talking about legal votes. I'm not talking about the fraudulent ballots, the illegal ballots, the dead people, the backdated ballots, the glitches. I'm talking about certified legal ballots. When they count it up, you're going to see the landslide. That's when it will appear. And it will be perfectly clear when the evidence is produced that all that other stuff was to counter the landslide. And I do believe he needs the Supreme Court, which he has. It was part of the plan. Like I said, the deep state, they were hoping RBG would make it until after the election. This way they can control the Supreme Court. It didn't happen. They couldn't keep her alive. She passed away. Trump, right before the election, he was able to introduce Amy Coney Barrett, have her nominated and confirmed in a split second. Boom, it was done. It was all done on purpose. And Trump tweeted this out. This is what we know. We have to go back to the state level and how this morass came to be in the first instance. The Governor Wolf and the state Supreme Court flagrantly violated the Constitution of the U.S. The power to set these rules and regulations is vested in the legislator. They just ignored that, ignored the Constitution. Now we bring it down to the counting houses, and outrageously observers who are the sentinels of integrity and transparency were included. Pennsylvania has conducted itself in a horrible, lawless way, and hopefully this will be corrected where? At the Supreme Court of the United States. Also, these late ballots past Election Day are illegal, exactly what the president has been saying. The Supreme Court, in extraordinary circumstances, has been able to render decisions in a matter of days. Ken Starr, former independent counsel. And this all leads up to what? The Supreme Court. It's being done on purpose. He knew exactly what they were planning to do. He already had countermeasures in place. Take a listen to what he said during the presser.
I'd like to provide the American people with an update on our efforts to protect the integrity of our very important 2020 election. If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us. If you count the votes that came in late, We're looking at them very strongly, but a lot of votes came in late. Good evening. I'd like to provide.
Now, what's very interesting is if we go back to 2016, remember when they told us, and Obama was out there, that you cannot manipulate the election? And then they said, oh, wait, Russia manipulated the election. So Obama said this before the election, that you can't manipulate the election. When they lost the election, they said Russia was manipulating the election. And now they're saying that the election cannot be manipulated. So they're going back and forth with their narrative, but it's not going to work. Trump has caught them. And he knows that they're trying to go after everything. And you never interfere with an enemy while they're in their process of destroying themselves. And Trump, the campaign, they put out a notice, and it says the election is not over. And this is what it says. The election is not over. The false projection of Joe Biden as the winner is based on results in 4 states that are far from final. Georgia is headed for a recount where we are confident we will find ballots improperly harvested and where President Trump will ultimately prevail. There were many irregularities in Pennsylvania, including having election officials prevent our volunteer legal observers from having meaningful access to vote counting locations. We prevailed in court on our challenge, but we were deprived of valuable time and denied the transparency we are entitled to under the state law. In Nevada, there appear to be thousands of individuals who improperly cast mail ballots. Finally, the president is on course to win Arizona outright, despite the irresponsible and erroneous calling of the state for Biden by Fox News and the Associated Press. Biden is relying on these states for his phony claim on the White House. But once the election is final, Trump will be reelected. And I do believe this. And we can see that there are certain individuals that are now backing Trump. We see out in Georgia, yes, there's going to be a recount. We see the Attorney General of Utah, he's going to leave and help Trump with this election. We see a lot of things happening all at the same time. Martin Geddes tweeted this out. Trump has the goods on the fraud, and now everyone everywhere playing the game is fooked. Last chance to make any kind of deal. Maximum leverage to Trump and patriots. Minimum leverage to army of idiots. The election show is a distraction. Real action inevitably behind the scenes. And he's absolutely right. This is a show that is going on. They put on a show. They're out there saying that Biden is the winner. He's going to be the president. Nancy Pelosi's out there convincing the people because this is all they have. Remember, propaganda only works so far until you show the facts. Sometimes the facts and the truth, it takes a while for them to surface. Look what happened with the pandemic. Look what happened with the Lancet report. They told us it was fact. They told us it was real. And a couple weeks later, it turned out to be fake. The same thing's going to happen with masks. People are going to go back in time and say, wow, masks really don't work. We were tricked. Because the facts are, and here are all the tests, they don't work. Actually, the pandemic was really never a pandemic. Remember, the truth takes a while to surface, while propaganda is flashy. People latch onto it very, very quickly. It's easy to accept. The truth is hard to accept. People don't like to accept it. And this is why it takes time. But in the end, the truth, just like the impeachment against Trump came out, just like Russian collusion, well, that came out. There was no Russian collusion. Just like Stormy Daniels, well, that came out. That never happened. Just like all the isms, well, those stories fell apart. Just like Don Jr. meeting the Russian attorney in the hotel room and calling his father, Donald Trump, that didn't happen. Sometimes the truth takes a little while. Sometimes it takes a while for it to surface while the propaganda is out in front being flashy and people are liking it. But eventually what happens is propaganda dies with facts, with truth. It can't stand on its own. Remember that. And what Pelosi, what Biden, what the mainstream media is doing right now, they're using flashy propaganda. Yes, they're doing the same thing they did with the riots. There is no election fraud. It's a myth. It doesn't really exist. We need to censor those people that believe that this does exist. All the ballots are legal. All the votes for Biden are legal. Whatever Trump is saying is a lie. We've seen this before. This is nothing new. It's the same tactic. Actually, Don Jr. sums it up. When America sees everything we are uncovering, they'll be disgusted, and even the media won't be able to pretend voter fraud isn't real. Ending this crap once and for all will be fundamental to preserving our republic and faith in democracy. And he's absolutely right. This election is not about just electing Trump. He didn't want to be elected just by electing him. Because what happens with the next election? I do believe that the people, and remember, the people have to see this because they're stuck in this system. They're stuck in a system that they believe in. And I just want to go back to the Matrix for a second because this really sums it up. The Matrix is a system, just like the deep state is a system. The system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still part of the system. They're still believing what they see and hear. And you have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. They won't be able to handle it. They'll have a nervous breakdown. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system that they will fight to protect it. This is what we are seeing right now. And this is why people say, well, you just can't wake people up. No, you can't. Remember, you can open the door, but the people are going to have to walk through it. We can show you the light. We can show you the truth. But until you take that first step, there's nothing else you can do. You can argue with them, but you'll know right away if their mind is open or closed. Remember, the mind is like a parachute. If it's not open, it just doesn't work. So remember that when you're talking to other people. And yes, I know people right now are going through this pain, this feeling of all is lost, the feeling that why just couldn't this be easy, the feeling of being confused, of not knowing the unknown. Why do I feel this way? Yes, you're going to feel this way. Yes, change is difficult. Change is hard. Think about someone who wants to lose weight, who's out of shape, a little bit overweight, and goes into the gym for the first time, and they start working out. Is it easy for them? Do they just get on the treadmill, lift weights? They go home and everything's perfect? No. What happens? Most people, if they're really out of shape and overweight, they throw up. Their body rejects what they're doing. The feeling is not good at all. Not good at all. The next day, how does your body feel? It aches all over because you've used parts of your body you've never used before. And it hurts. This is what we're going through right now. But as we keep going, as we keep doing and pushing forward, it gets better and better, and you start to see the truth. You start to see the facts, just like the person working out. A couple weeks later, wow, I don't have those aches and pains anymore. I'm not throwing up anymore. I'm feeling better. Actually, it's working. This is what's going to happen as we move forward. Yes, this point in time is tough, but we will get through all of this. Now, remember, Twitter is most likely getting ready to ban Trump. They've been banning a lot of people. A lot of people, their accounts have been taken down. Actually, like I mentioned in the earlier today, Cloud Hub, which is backed by IBM, they decided they were going to take all the videos down on Cloud Hub. And this is from IBM because of complaints. Actually, it was my channel. I'll admit it. It was my channel. It was that one video that I put up that Trump trapped the deep state. He's exposing it all. They knew the playbook. For some reason, someone complained about that, and they decided to take down the entire system. And IBM is now looking at it. Now, they're going to bring up all the channels except X22 Report. So once again, I warned everyone about this, that there's going to be censorship on other platforms. You might not think so. Actually, BitChute, they tried to deplatform. Luckily, they were able to bring the system back up. But once again, they're trying to stop anyone that is talking about any of these things that goes against the narrative of the mainstream media, of the deep state, because the deep state is the system. It is the enemy. And what's very interesting is that Twitter has already confirmed that when Trump loses the election, all the special protections that he has, they will disappear on January 20th. I think the special protections are going to disappear way before that, because once he starts exposing the fraud, I think they're going to bring his account down. Now, what's very interesting is that we know the Department of Justice, they have 10 days before they can actually start to look into the elections. Now, I'm assuming that this is all true, that they have these 10 days and they can't move forward on anything. And that reminded me of the 10 days of darkness. Now, I don't mean everything's going to be blacked out and we're going into a power grid failure and cyber attacks. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about these 10 days of where it feels dark, where it feels hopeless, where it feels, I didn't expect this to happen. And Ryan actually emailed me and mentioned this whole 10 days, which I'll go over in a second. But I want to go back to post 370. This is December 18, 2017. It says clock started 10 days. Post 282. This is December 6, 2017. And Anon on the board says, I have a question. The 10 days of darkness, when? Q just answered with shutdown. Now, I assume it's the shutdown of social media, shutdown of Trump's account. But Ryan, he looked at this and saw it a different way. And I find it very interesting. The Department of Justice cannot get involved with the election process until 10 days. 10 days after the election would be a period of darkness. After the 10 days is November 14th, 2020. If you add up 11, 14, 20, it adds up to 45. President Trump is the 45th president. He's reelected.